Following total atomic annihilation, the rebuilding of this great nation of ours may fall to you. That's why we here at Vault Boys WV will take you on an oral tour of the beautiful state of West Virginia. There's no other place to be better prepared for the impending fallout. Now we go live to our team of experts.
Hello and welcome to yet another week with Vault Boys WV, a mutated podcast crossbreeding our shared history in Appalachia with the post-apocalyptic state in Fallout 76. I am your country road scholar, Dave Chaffins, and joining me is my favorite, son of a Mothman, Austin O'Connor. How you doing, Austin?
I'm doing great. How are you? I'm getting attacked by a dog right now.
I know. It's dog time right now. It is. The dogs have invaded the podcast.
He was like, listen, I know that you're doing the podcast, but I need you to pay attention to me.
I heard the loud intro. I came down here.
I wanted to check out what was going on.
I wanted to see.
But I'm doing great. How are you doing? You don't sound like you're doing great today.
There's allergy season.
Yeah.
And
everything's in bloom.
Everything is in bloom. I did yard work this weekend.
That's what got you.
Yeah. And so, like, when I talk about yard work, if you, like, it's Charleston downtown. There's not a lot of yard, but there is a lot of weeding going on.
Yeah. That's why I'm really glad I live in an apartment. I don't have to deal with that right now.
Yeah. Because when you're on the river, like, everything grows except grass. You can't get grass to grow, but you can get everything to grow. And so everybody's yards, unless they get like seed and really take care of it, kind of look like crap.
Yeah.
So we get out there, we started weeding, we started doing some stuff this weekend, and I have some allergies. Yesterday was much worse. I got home and my whole body ached. Like, it was just like an ache across my body.
Are you sure that you're not actually sick?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure. Because Selena had this like brush, this lymph brush. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not.
It's
familiar
like
with
some.
that.
Well, she got this this like brush that apparently your lymph nodes swell. I learned about this.
Okay.
Your lymph nodes swell with mucus when you have allergies. We're getting down to the science. This is the science episode. JK,
Right.
It's not the science episode. But one of the ways that you can relieve some of that pressure is you can maneuver some of that mucus up into your chest cavity.
Oh,
by literally rubbing this brush against,
fantastic, yeah,
like up along your legs and arms.
That's a great visual that you're giving me here.
Yes, and so
I hope no one is listening to this having lunch.
I'm
talking
talking
to
about
sit down and eat
it looks
this
like a horse brush,
delicious meal, and listen to Dave talk about his mucus.
Moving the mucus.
Yeah. Oh man.
Well,
Yum.
Well, so I did that, and I really didn't feel any better. But then this morning, I felt much better, and I think that maybe it had all settled.
Mucus brushes, man, they're all the rage right now.
Yeah, I didn't like it when it was happening. I was like,
I don't like this. I'm not a fan. No, I don't like this.
No, that was me. But she's kind, and she did it anyway, and I feel much better now. Because I've got a lot of leg hair and like arm hair and whatever, and it's like when you're brushing that, like with a hard like kind of horse brush,
it
doesn't feel very good.
Yeah, I would say not. But hey, man, if it works.
So that's an update on my wellness.
Well, I'm glad.
My wellness corner over here.
I'm glad.
I may or may not have had a Diet Pepsi today, and it was real good. I'm on the Pepsi train.
Well, I'm really glad that you're on the Pepsi train.
I'm on the Pepsi train. I was on the Coca-Cola train for years and years, but now I'm on the Pepsi train.
I jumped off the soda wagon a while back, long time ago, years ago. I would I still, if it's the only thing available, I'll have one like here or there, maybe like a couple times a year.
I don't drink soda unless I'm at work and it's 2:00.
Yeah. Well, I recently got on like a big LaCroix kick.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm on that, and everyone thinks I'm weird for it, but
have you tried kombucha?
No, I have not.
Kombucha is delicious.
I've heard that. But LaCroix, I hated it the first time I tried it. Hated it. I was like, this is the most watered down flavor.
Yeah, I can't
it's
do it.
Not even. And then it's somehow I've just acquired this taste for it. And now I love it. I don't know.
And now it's your thing. Now you're the LaCroix boy.
Yeah, the LaCroix boy. Yeah. So I've been drinking that. And other than that, nothing really new in my life.
No, I've went and saw Shazam
Went and saw Shazam. See, like, I forgot that was a new movie coming out. So every time, I think you mentioned it last week.
Yeah.
And I thought about, was it Sinbad or who was in? There was like
it was Shaquille O'Neal.
But it never actually was a thing, right? Wasn't there like, or no, it was Shaquille O'Neal, but everyone thought Sinbad was in a movie playing a genie.
Shazam with fake one is Shazam with Sinbad.
Yes.
Real one is Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal.
Yes, that was what it was. Because for the longest, I swear there was a whole conspiracy theory on the internet about it.
There's that, and then there's the one that's the Berenstain Bears.
I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole.
Here's my personal opinion. Everyone needs to learn how to spell because it's been the same. Everybody was just bad at reading and spelling.
You're wrong.
Because they were reading the Berenstain Bears and they're like, it's the Berenstain Bears.
It was Berenstain.
Because you know what? You know who's reading that? Children. You know what children can't do? Read well.
I'm not here for your negativity. I think that it was we are living in an alternate dimension. We're living in an alternate dimension. You're bringing me down right now. I've got good flipping vibes going on, and you're giving me some bad
mood.
flipping. Yes,
big mood.
Yes, we can kill that now. I thought about it after last week's show. I was like, I can't believe even jokingly that I said those words.
Said those words, yeah.
I wanted to just
at least it was ironic.
Yeah, well, hopefully everyone got that because I wanted to slam my head through a door when I got home. I was like, so sorry to everyone.
You're this like Kelly Slater looking person. Like you're gonna come in here and be wagging your pinky finger and your thumb finger back and forth, going totally radical, man. That's you.
What's that video where the guy's getting interviewed and he goes, "You just drop in, you just get so pitted, bro, and you just get pitted, and he's talking about surfing." Have you seen that?
Yeah, I think so.
That's how I feel when I say a big mood, good flipping vibes, bro.
Yeah, that's
good
like the
GVO.
I forgot this is the Australian guy that they interviewed that like has like.
Gosh.
Have you seen that? It's like I forgot.
I probably have,
but he goes down this rabbit hole of just like saying only Australian colloquial. It's like the equivalent to what's that guy? The climbing in your windows, snatching your people up. The guy.
Oh,
Antoine Dodson. Yeah.
Well, obviously, yeah. It's fun fact about that. Side note: in high school, we had this thing called Move Up Day at the end of the year for the seniors to do. Like a funny talent show. It could be a talent show or it could be like skits. Oh, wow. Something funny, anything that we wanted to do.
That sounds like a crazy day.
Well, my friend Byron and I decided, because this was 2010, this was right when that video had just come out. And we decided we wanted to do that. So Byron goes out and acts like he's going to sing a song and play guitar. And about 15 seconds into it, one of the teachers comes out and is like, stop. And the curtain's closed. And everyone in the crowd was like, what just happened? I mean, this is the entire school. Yeah. Is this during school hours? And then I pop out of the curtain and got to the microphone and I was like, hey guys, I'm really sorry. We had something happen backstage. We're actually gonna have to cancel the rest of Move Up Day. Everybody's gonna have to go back to class. I'm really sorry. And everybody's like booing and going. They're like, no, like going crazy. Yeah. And then someone pops their head out. It's like, wait, we have a witness. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's bring him out. Let's figure this out. And they opened the curtain, and Byron was dressed exactly like Antoine Dodson. And he sings this song. There was like a remix version of the video with a song, and he sang the whole song and danced around on stage with it.
Yeah, the auto-tune.
Yeah, it was the auto-tune. Yeah. And we had like people coming out with it. It was funny.
That was back when everything got like all the news clips were like auto-tune.
Yeah, it was like remix.
Yeah.
And this wasn't even a song, but there was a remix to it. Yeah. So that's my side note. I hadn't thought about that in probably 9 years.
I love like weird high school presentations.
Yeah, there were people singing. There were people recreating Saturday Night Live skits but implementing teachers into it.
Have I told you about the time that I ran for treasurer of the Student Council Association?
I don't think so.
So
this is news to me.
Like at our school, there was this a governing body, like student body president, like that kind of stuff you see in like the normal high school movies. And it's like SGA at some schools, it's SCA at some schools, whatever. So my buddy was running for president, and so I was like, well, I should run for something. I'll run from treasurer. And so I just like signed up, and I was like, I'll run for treasurer, whatever. So it got to the day, and nobody wanted to run for treasurer except for me. And so I was like, okay. So I made these signs, like, you put up signs in the school for like what
Right.
My buddy is an artist, is now an artist too. Lives in Lewisburg. Shout out to Lewisburg. Shout out to James. Made signs for me that was like, a vote for David is a vote. And just like, they're like, how do you vote for David? And it's like, you get this. He drew a picture of a ballot, and it just had my name. And it just only my name. It's like, put a big check mark beside that and put it in the box. And it was like, and even if you don't do that, it doesn't matter. And so
He's still going to be your treasurer.
everybody has to give a speech. Like,
Oh my gosh.
So I got in front of the school. And like, if you're familiar with that, people like do like the stupidest speeches sometimes where they're like, "Oh, if I'm president, we're gonna get a slushy machine in the cafeteria, and we're gonna get like, I'm gonna make these weird like serious campaign promises or whatever."
When you have no power whatsoever.
It's like, and they have no power whatsoever. So I did this whole campaign speech about how if I was treasurer, everyone was going to go to Tractor Supply and get free baby ducks. And it was like this like propaganda speech that I got out there. I was like, and you will have a free baby duck, and you will have a free baby duck, and everyone in the school will have a free baby duck. And our overlords don't want us to have the free baby ducks, but we'll have the free baby ducks.
You're like the baby duck Oprah.
Yes.
You get a duck, and you get a duck. Yeah.
Yes.
So
that was my
I wish I could have seen that speech.
my campaign speech.
Gosh. Well, so before we get into Fallout stuff,
Well, we have a developing story.
I
on
wanted
this
to bring
podcast.
up something. If you listened to last week's episode, you heard.
Hang on.
Breaking news coming out of Bluefield, West Virginia.
Whoa.
So if you listened to last week's show, you heard the story of my grandmother. Something she said to me. If you don't know, you can go listen to it. I don't want to tell the whole story, but she said something at dinner that she had a slip of the tongue. Slip of the tongue. Yeah, she didn't really think before she spoke, and she said the wrong word.
Yes.
And it was not a good word.
Yes.
And it was mortifying. Well, she calls me a few days ago, and she said, I have something to tell you, Austin. And I was like, what? What's going on, Nana? She goes, I went to church on Sunday, and I was in Sunday school. And I'll tell you what, David's dad got up in front of everybody, and he stopped before we did anything. He said, everybody, I think before we get started, we need to clarify something for Dixie here. And I was already laughing at this point. And she was like, it's not funny. Hold on. She keeps going. He says, we need to clarify for Dixie. And he writes the word germaphobe and he writes the word homophobe on a board. And he said, one of these is a phobia of germs. The other one is a bigot, and it's a phobia of homosexuals. And these are very, very different things. And apparently he just said, Dixie does not know the difference between these two things, apparently. And like her telling me that made me so happy just because I told her when she embarrassed me in the restaurant. I was like, way. You're going to get it. So all of these people in her Sunday school class also now know this story.
Yes.
And she wasn't mad. She was just like, oh, okay. I think I will now get payback for that. But
you probably will.
But that made my day. That your dad straight up just said, we're going to clear up some stuff before we start today for Dixie.
Yeah, I was talking to them, and they have told me before that they like to listen to the beginning portion of the podcast, at least.
That's what my mom does, and then she's like, I don't know what any of this Fallout stuff is. And then when we
talk about the game, it's like, oh, for people that don't follow it, it's
we need to just start begin with like maybe 3 or 4 Fallout sentences, and they're like, "Oh, they're not doing the intro this week." And just turn it off.
Put it up and be like, "These guys."
All right,
suck.
they're not listening anymore. Now let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So I called my parents this week, and they told me the same story. I thought that was absolutely hilarious, and I was picturing the look on her face.
Oh, I told her, I was like, I really wish I could see, just as he is explaining this to everyone in your Sunday school class, what she probably, I mean, she laughed. She never really gets embarrassed. I feel like she's at the age where she just doesn't really care.
No.
I mean, obviously she goes
was
to
a high school theater teacher for years. I think the point of embarrassment has been lost.
She goes to restaurants and tells the waitresses that her grandson is a homophobe. I don't think anything's going to embarrass her if she can say that and then just laugh it off as if, oh, whoops, I meant germaphobe. No. I was mortified for both of us. I was like, you can't just play that off. You need to explain that you meant germaphobe. So there was that, which one day we're going to have an episode where I'm going to drop several
truths.
Several Dixieisms, things that she has said over the years.
She's an American treasure.
She is an American treasure. She said that your parents called her that. And
yes.
I said it's catching on.
She's an American treasure.
Yeah,
we must protect her at all costs.
We have to protect her at all costs. But so that's really everything going on in my life. My grandma is now going to get revenge on me.
Right. She fired shots at Sunday school.
Yeah, because
it's serious when the Sunday school teacher
it's hit Sunday school
here.
now. Yeah, so
Lord.
word travels fast.
Bluefield's a small town.
Yeah, it is.
Small town.
Everybody in town probably knows about it now. But that's that. So
well, with that, we will get into our next segment. So Austin.
So David.
This week
we've
got a new patch coming to Fallout 76.
Yes.
Which includes changes to vendors, changes to item naming, a brand new quest line, and some other different fixes that they have implemented in the game. Have you had a chance to play?
I have not.
Because guess what? I may have convinced you to do.
You have convinced me to do a lot of things.
That's true. Like what? Name them off. Do this podcast.
At one time, you convinced me to shave my face into a Fu Manchu. I kept it for a week. And
everybody said ni hao to you as you passed by.
I was almost added. I almost had to register as a sex offender just because I had the Fu Manchu. They were like, "Dude, come on, we see through your act. Like
we see you."
I was like, "I swear to God." But so I shaved that off. That was a terrible joke. People are going to be like, they're getting dicey today on the show.
We're coming in here hot.
Let's see. What else have you influenced me to do? One time, you told me that I should get a Nintendo Switch.
Yes.
And that I should play The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And I did. That's kind of consumed my life.
Yeah, I feel you.
That's been it.
Well, just real quick, are you enjoying that?
Yes, I am. Yeah. I hate how invested I am in it, but it's been life-changing, I guess. I don't know, So for now, like I told you, I was taking a Fallout hiatus. Yeah. I had gotten too deep into Fallout for my own good.
It's funny, we switch on and off.
Yeah, it's like when I was playing, you weren't playing, and then now we're back.
Now it's back.
Yeah.
And so once I take a little hiatus,
I think probably realistically will have to hop back on soon, just because I need to. I mean, I've kept up with everything that's going on. I just haven't really played it. I've not. I got addicted to Entourage. I got so invested in that. And watched that through. So I'm already finished with all 8 seasons and the movie in the last 2 weeks. So it's been, my life has consisted of going home and basically any free time I have,
You've been playing on that Switch.
I've been either playing the Switch or watching Entourage. Yeah. So, which I just couldn't believe how cheap the system is, like money wise. Like it's because it's such a unique system. I feel like, and I slept on it for a long time, and now I'm convinced. I'm like, man, this is actually probably in my eyes like the best system out. I think
If they ever put Fallout 76 on the Switch, I would turn my PlayStation off. Well, and that and Elder Scrolls Online. That's literally all I play now.
and that
Like, I play those 2 games,
you'd be set.
and then like,
Yeah,
what else do I need?
I mean that's true, and just the fact that take it with you so easily.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, my daily routine, I get on the bike. It's a biking. It's like you're at the arcade, except now you're on pedals, and then you got like some
Kill 2
resistance.
birds. Yeah,
You know how it goes.
I know how it goes. Speaking of working out, let me get it like a little shameless plug here, real quick,
Okay.
for everybody.
Okay.
So I am training, which is awful. It's so bad. I hate it. I'm training for a 5K, running in a 5K on June the 1st in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's called the Keep Pounding 5K. It's associated with Carolina Panthers, but
Keep pounding.
Keep pounding. Every bit of funds, or all proceeds raised for the event, go directly to the Levine Cancer Center and the Levine Cancer Research Center. I'm getting the names mixed up. It's both associated with the Levine Cancer Institute, and all of the funding goes to help kids with cancer. Really help anybody of any age that is dealing with cancer, with treatment, with research. It's a really good cause. I have set up, we have a team page. There's several of us on a team running together and raising money together. And we are trying to raise as much money as possible. We can link the page on
Yes, the
Twitter,
link for this will be in the description on the podcast
And
across all the services.
we can link it. And I know I'm kind of like rambling around the event, I'm jumbling my words right now, but it's a really great cause. It's very important to me because I lost my dad to pancreatic cancer in 2015. So any time I can go and raise money for cancer research and cancer treatment, I'm very adamant about that. So,
and you and your dad were big Panthers fans. For
yeah.
years
So
and did everything. I mean, went to the games, took
Right.
photos, did all kinds of stuff.
yeah, and that's one of the reasons this race is so special, because not only is it helping, because he was a patient with the Levine Cancer Center, so they gave him an extra probably 1.5 years, almost 2 years of his life through treatment, and helped extend his life. And so anytime I can help them is big, but also just the fact that it is associated with something that we bonded over is big. So on the events page that we'll link on my page, there's a little bit, there's a lot more information there and a better description
you can read,
that you can read and learn about it. And if you can, I would really appreciate it if you guys donate. Obviously, I understand if you can't. Any amount is very much appreciated. But again, we will link that in the description.
Link in the description. Yeah.
Link in the description.
We don't ask for much on this
Right.
podcast.
I hesitated to.
No, I specifically asked you to bring it up because we don't ask. We don't have a Patreon. We just do that. We do this, for fun. And so I want you to talk about it. And I implore you all. I've donated to the
thank you again
to the
for that.
5K. No problem, man.
And but
I implore you all seriously to go out there and donate. Austin is a doober, but the work he's doing with this is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Like I said, it's fun to raise money for something like this because I enjoy seeing advancements and everything in cancer research, and it's really rewarding to know that it's going to a good cause. Because, like I said, it's not like an event where a certain percentage goes to the website that sets it up, and this 100% of the proceeds goes to cancer research and treatment. So, it's definitely a great cause. So definitely, please consider doing that, and we would greatly appreciate that. So that was my shameless plug.
Well, that's a good shameless plug. I'll accept that. So back to Fallout.
Back to Fallout.
I got home yesterday.
We got off the rails there quick.
It's fine.
You got home yesterday.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to play Patch 8. But I still had some stuff to do with the camp, which I'll get to in a minute. But started the sheep squatch, lying low quest line. And it's pretty detailed. Like there's 5 quests associated with it that are brand new. If there's a time to jump back in, if you're sitting on the fence, if you're into the quests in Fallout, they're pretty good. And they're a lot based on like doing some detective work.
Okay.
Like if you'd ever wanted to like hunt cryptids, like this is the quest to go back and do.
Okay. Well, that is right up my alley.
Yes.
Right up my snally, if you will. Callback.
But I felt sick. I didn't really want to... I didn't have enough time. It's kind of weird. I got a little bit into it. Didn't have a chance to complete it. So I can't really talk about the new situation. Right. However, this weekend, I did get in for double XP rewards on survival mode. So I went back to survival mode.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I want to play this so that I can like max amount of... like get my max amount of XP, because I'm trying to change up my build like I was talking about. I need some more perks for that. And so I ended up looking at the map and thinking, okay, there's going to be people in the forest. Like that's where most people are going to be. They're going to be in the forest, they're going to be in the Savage Divide, and they're going to be in the Cranberry Bog, because that's where most people are. It's like you're not going to find high-level enemies in the Toxic Valley or the Ash Heap. Like you're just not going to find them. And those are pretty flat, and you can see people from far away.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to go Mire. And I had an immense amount of fun. I did not run into a single person, but I went and I claimed Berkeley Springs as a workshop or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that gave me a spawn point there, because in survival mode you can only spawn at train stations, the vault, or your camp. And so I went around and just like started just exploring the mire. Found a location that I had never found. That's one of my favorites in Fallout 76, called Moss Town. I don't know if you found that. It's like this little,
I don't think I have,
like wood shackle settlement that's just like in this little. It's near a fisher site, but so there was a scorch piece I had to deal with.
Yeah,
but
so there's that. But
it was a lot of fun, and it was like, I had to kind of be a little cautious of people around me, but there's no train stations in the mire, at least not right now.
So it was kind of like, well, there might not be that much traffic coming.
But I had to be aware that there was something happening. And the same rules applied to when you die. So you would lose all your junk plus some of the medical supplies that you had, like the aid and stuff. So it was even more important that you like go and get that. So I would have to spawn at the Pleasant Valley train station, and then literally like run down the mountain away from all the people fighting to go get my my junk.
Just get out of Dodge there.
Yeah. So I spent a good amount of time just exploring. Really appreciating the environment. That environment, I think, is one of the better ones that they've done in Fallout.
It's very creepy.
It is very creepy.
The theme, the mood, everything is just very well put together, I think.
The mood.
Hashtag big mood.
Big mood. Mire, big mood. Am I doing that right? Yeah, I am.
We'll work on it. We'll work on it.
Excellent. So I was walking around there. I have made this new power armor that I've gotten the paints for. So I'm like Bumblebee now. So I've got the XO1 helmet, like this kind of the prototype one is just yellowish. I've got excavator arms, and I got the paint for the ultrasight armor. And so I have like yellow legs, like I'm just this big yellow dude running around when I'm wearing power armor. And so I was going through there, got a lot of XP, got like 2.5 like full levels just from like maybe an hour worth of playing.
I definitely need to hop in that and try that out then.
It was seriously fun because there was more of like a risk to it, and you had to be a little more cautious to not like just die, just like up and you had to take on things a little bit slower. You had to run away a little bit.
Strategery.
So I actually somewhat enjoyed that, and I'm gonna go back and play some more of that, kind of like that, where I'm avoiding other people, but like just the threat, of like the possibility of maybe there being somebody doing that.
You
but
never know.
The place I ended up quitting, I was walking around Harper's Ferry, and there was this mountain where the train tracks that come into Harper's Ferry like diverge into this mountain. I was like, well, I wonder if I can go to the top of that mountain. And so I was just like going around like killing the enemies to get up to the top of the mountain. I got up to the top of the mountain, and I was like, this is a really nice view, and it was kind of flat up there. And then I went to the edge of this cliff, and there was a dog. I was like, okay. And it was non-hostile, and it looked like a dog. It didn't look like a feral dog. It just was a dog. And I was like, huh. And I like tried to talk to it, and there was this note there about like what it looked like was that this dog, their owner, like just their owner's bodies were dead, and the dog was like sadly sitting, and it was like a living thing. You could kill it if you wanted to. I'm pretty sure. I did not kill the dog, but I did move my camp. And so I moved my camp, and I blocked off that mountain, and I made Hound Town.
You and all of these different ideas for towns.
So I've got Hound Town, and Hound Town, rule number 1, don't kill the dog.
You kill the dog, you're kicked out of Hound Town.
Rule number 2, don't even bother the dog.
Just leave him.
Rule number 3, you can pet the dog. If you want to pet the dog, go pet the dog. But there's no buildings around the dog. But the way the town is it's kind of walled off, so you can't like, even if you have the marsupial mutation, if you had a jetpack, you could get up there and kill the dog. Like if you jetpack can get you anywhere, but you can't really jump up to get the stock. So you have to come. Safe. You have to come through the gates of Hound Town, and you got to go out the back door. And he's just out there. He's just chilling. He's overlooking Harper's Ferry. I've got this great the way that the camp is to get down into Harper's Ferry. You literally just put on power armor, jump up the cliff, and you're on the train tracks in Harper's Ferry. Like you just like Iron Man.
You have to just go full send.
You do. You got Iron Man all the way down. I've got a springboard trap that's like one of those things that launches people. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
I got one of those, and so I was like, that can just
go
like put me into the town at that point.
That's some ingenuity.
Got Hound Town.
I'm a fan of. I like Hound Town.
Hound Town.
Take you down.
I tried Dog Town, but then I liked Hound Town. I liked the alliteration of it. Hound Town.
Hound Town. Hound Town.
I'm gonna take you down to Hound Town, man.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Take you up to Hound Town.
That's cool.
So come visit me. Come visit my dog.
Okay.
PSN.
What if the dog likes me and takes like if I visit and the dog takes like a liking to me and it's like I'm leaving, and follows me back to my camp, and then I am the mayor of Hound Town.
Well, then that's just the way the cookie crumbles. You know,
that's show
let me tell you something.
Baby.
This is a selfless act.
Yeah.
This is not me and my ego. This is just Hound Town. Like we go to where the hound is.
That's just show business, baby.
This isn't like a
yeah. The hound will probably stay up there, though, I think.
Hound will stay up there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny because I found him and I logged off of survival mode because I was like done for the day. And when I logged back on, I was like, I wonder if that dog's still there. And I looked, and I was like, that must just be a part of the game. And so, Hound Town.
Hound Town forever.
So that's what I have been doing in Fallout 76.
Well, that's fun. I'll get back in there eventually.
I think you should. I think the Sheep Squatch quest is something that is right up your snally.
Snelly, yeah.
I think that the way it's designed, and it's fun. It's so funny. The quest, like the animation, like you know how every quest has like a little animation that plays it when it updates or when you complete it. The quest is a call out to the meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where it's Charlie and he's they're doing the mail. And he comes in there, he's like, Pepe Sylvia. I went and got my mail from Pepe. And it's like a Vault Boy with the boards like all connecting all of the different lines. And he's like, he's like, has his hands in his hair and his eyes are swirling and stuff.
I love that. That's like the one that reminds me of Rust Cole. The thing Rust Cole always comes into the discussion when it comes to like investigating something. But I that's one of my favorite memes, I think. Between that and the one where they have the poster board up and it's got like Galileo and like all these other people and it says something like it's got their eyes marked out and he's calling them all. He's like bitch, science is a liar or something like that. Like, that's another one of my favorite. That show's full of gems though.
That's good.
But
the other go ahead.
No, you got it.
The other meme that I saw that's like a call out is if you remember I was talking about Bat Boy. The way, because it happens in Lewisburg, that's where the quest starts. You'll see a tabloid there talking about Sheep Squatch, and the way it's laid out and the way it's like has Sheep Squatch drawn, it is almost a direct copy of like Bat Boy ate my whatever.
Those are great. I'm glad that they're that aware that they know about those, though.
They are very aware, and there's been some call-outs in the quest to like deeper West Virginia lore, like so far that I've experienced with white things, and like the Cherokee wolves, and like some of the deeper cuts that I think we brushed on a little bit. That is always nice, and it always makes for good content for us when if we know the same direction they're going, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure.
I hope that they stay on course because that makes us right.
Wow. And then so the other thing that they're implementing, if I'm not mistaken, is a camera.
Yeah.
See that transition I just did there?
Well, we need to do the transition music before we do that.
Bow, 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 bow. Is that what we have?
No, we got to do the actual musics.
Bow, 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 bow.
All right, you were dismissed. Let's go into our next segment.
Oh, sheesh.
So, Austin, next week, we're 1 week ahead. Except next week's episode, the subject is going to be more relevant to the content of that patch. But this week, we're going to be talking about something that hits pretty close to our professional background. When I think about our professional background, this is one of the few things that I think we're specific in. Now, the question will be, if we ever do an episode about map making,
then
I get the shine.
Then that is, you've been waiting for that moment your whole
where
life.
I get to talk about like why symbology is important, why like scale bars are necessary, why north arrows are particular, because that's what I mean. That's what they want to hear about. I talk about my job, but that's what I do is I make maps I talk about, I got a geography degree. What that translates to is I literally sit around and make maps of West Virginia.
Right, which is sweet.
All day. It's
like
sweet. And until you've made 1,000 different maps and you're like...
And then you're like, what else can I make a map of?
What else can I map?
Wow.
And turns out there's a lot of stuff you can map. But next week, we're getting a new item and quest into the game called the Snap-a-matic. Which is an in-game camera. So, like, you have binoculars in the game. This is a camera that you can get, and you can get different skins for it.
Right.
You can get Mothman stickers on your camera.
Oh, I'm going to have that.
I saw that, and I was like, that looks like something you might be interested in. So, Austin.
Yes.
I consider you a photo master.
Thank you.
I would say you're a great photo master. I would say that you're a top-tier photographer in West Virginia. That's what I would say.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say.
You're very welcome. I'm happy to give you the credit. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about. I want you to give me a little bit of background on how to get in photography.
Okay.
What kind of stuff's happened? What photography is? What you think is important? Give me I want the elevator pitch.
Okay.
That's like 10 minutes.
So in ancient days, they used to draw photos in caves. I'm just kidding. I'm not going. Okay.
I like that. I like that beginning point.
For me, Austin O'Connor, I grew up around photography. So my dad was a professional photographer. He owned his own studio. He did more portrait work, though, family portrait, wedding, stuff like that. He was very, very talented. So I grew up constantly, watching him with his sessions and editing and all this stuff. And when I was young, I told myself I wanted to be a photographer. Well, as I got older through high school, that fell off. I didn't really want to anymore, mostly because my dad constantly reminded me how there's not a lot of time. There's not a lot of money in it unless you really get yourself in the right position. But as I got through college, I started to really pick it back up and got my first camera. And it was just, I think it was just really natural for me just because I had been around it so much and I had learned from him. So I fell in love with photography and just sort of, it matched very well with my love for the state of West Virginia because as you know, I like to go hiking and just see as much as I can of the outdoors, really any outdoor recreation I'm a big fan of. And a lot of times when I go these places, there are perfect opportunities for photos and a lot of, I think, my photography career I owe to West Virginia's landscapes because that's what I've practiced on, and that's really ultimately what I fell in love with along with photography. So they go hand in hand for me. West Virginia and photography go hand in hand in terms of my career and what I'm good at. So that's how we got here.
Started from the bottom.
I have definitely built myself up. I think I've made a little bit of a name for myself now. And that sounded very arrogant, but I
think you have.
I've finally gotten to a point where people recognize my work, at least in the state.
Let me tell you, if we judge it, my Instagrams, like on my personal account, get like maybe 10 likes. I look at yours, and you're rocking 200,
no,
300,
it's still not that.
400.
It's still not that much, though.
I could go higher. 500.
I have a lot of. I have work to do. I'll take a photo, and at first I'll think it's the best photo I've ever taken, and a few months later I look back and I go, "Oh my God, that's trash." I'm constantly trying to evolve and get better with my photography. So that's. Like I said, I have work to do always. Right. I think I'm always going to feel that I need to get better. But at this point in my life, I'm very happy with how it's going and what I've learned. And again, just being able to travel around the state, and the state's beautiful, and I think a lot of people know that. But it's fun to showcase that and kind of make it, because I think a big part of photography is making it what you think is beautiful, what you think is art. And you can kind of tell your own story with a photo. You can frame it a certain way and kind of be able to tell a story about maybe what you perceive it as, what you're focusing on. You could put 5 photographers in a room with one object, and they're all going to come out with a different picture and a different way that they shot it and what they see and how they view it, how they view art. So that's what I like about it. It's different for everybody, and West Virginia has so much that the possibilities are endless for like what you can create. So, but yeah, so that's where we are now. That's where I am in my photography career.
Right.
But I think what we had spoken about doing today, I guess I am going to discuss some of my favorite spots.
I've asked you to bring me some of your favorite photographs taken in West Virginia. And favorite to you. This isn't like this is my, these are my top 5 most liked.
These are just ones that mean a lot to me.
Your favorites. And I wanted to have this discussion based around, photo mode has been so big in Fallout 76,
right.
And a lot of what people are enjoying taking pictures of is not only their characters, but also the landscape and these locations and teddy bears filming cooking shows. And what, we've got this great resource on here, which is you and your knowledge of photography. And so I thought, what better way to kick off that quest line where let me tell you, next week, if you're not jumping into this game with hunting cryptids and doing quests based on photography,
I'm missing out at that point.
You're missing out at that point.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
So I wanted to talk to you about your favorite photographs, which if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, how are we going to look at these photographs? Well, guess what? That link will be in the description.
Yes.
So go in the description. There's going to be links for not only our link tree that has all the links for the different podcasts. That's been in the description since day one, and now it's a lot more clean with Linktree. We are not sponsored by Linktree. Links for your fundraiser that you're doing and these photos that we're going to talk about today, so that you can look at them. Those will all be in the description down below.
Yes.
So now, let me hear and let's talk about some of these photographs.
So I have 5, and then I have an honorable mention.
Okay.
Because I couldn't narrow it to 5. It's hard to narrow it to 6.
It's hard to narrow it to 6. Yeah. You had messaged me earlier. I had sent you this idea, and you were like, "That's a great idea."
Yeah.
And a few hours later, you were like, "This is hard."
Yeah, that's very difficult. So I'm gonna try my best to explain a detailed description of the photos, but I more than anything, I just wanted to give a background on them. So this is in no particular order.
Right.
I can't list them in order. I don't know what my favorite is, but we're going to start with, I actually posted this today.
Also, I'll link Austin's Instagram because it's worth checking out.
It's basically a state of West Virginia fan account. That's like what it is.
It is. Yeah.
I can't talk. Basically, just a bunch of photos of the state.
Right.
So
my Instagram is just a bunch of photos of my dog upside down with his teeth,
which is equally as entertaining. Though. I think that they should follow you as well. All right. So the first photo, it's actually a couple years old. I went back today and was looking at it, and I will show you. I don't know if you saw the photo.
Oh, I think I know where that might be. That's probably down Golly Bridge, right?
It is actually not. So a lot of people get confused about this photo. Before I say any more, so the photo it's an aerial shot looking down at a river with rapids, and there's a raft with whitewater rafters in it. It was actually taken from the New River Gorge Bridge. That is, yeah.
The level of detail, when you look at the photo, you will be like, that looks like they were like very, very close to it. Not the level.
So this is, everyone thinks I took this with a drone. They refuse to believe me that I took this with my camera.
That's insane if you did.
Yeah, I took
big
this.
If true.
Big if true. I took this first photo on Bridge Day, which I don't know if we've mentioned it in the Bridge episode, but Bridge Day is basically...
The Bridge episode, the number one episode, if you go back, you can listen to us in the first episode, which now that we've gone back to a different podcasting service, now we don't get those however many listens we've had on there. It was a lot.
But the Bridge episode, Bridge Day basically is they shut down the New River Gorge Bridge, which is obviously in Fallout. They shut down the bridge. They allow people to walk on it. They have base jumpers jumping off all day. And I brought my camera. This was Bridge Day 2017. And I was looking down, and I was more so trying to get like shots of just the river and the mountains. And I had brought a big enough lens that I was able to sort of zoom in enough on the rafters. And I liked sort of the composition with the rocks to the side. And you kind of see how small they really are in this large river heading down these rapids. So this one was special to me just because that was actually my first Bridge Day I'd ever been to. Cool. And it was just a fun experience. So
getting a shot like that on your first Bridge Day. That's
cool. I definitely enjoyed it. And I think it's more so a special shot to me just because it makes so many people confused as to how I got it without a drone.
Yes.
So
when you look at that, you will be amazed.
Yeah, this is one of, and it's just I just like the way it looks. It's one of my favorite shots, which it's funny because a lot of the photos that do better for me with other people are sometimes they're photos that aren't my favorite. I think that's with any artist of any genre of anything, though. I think a lot of times you like something that maybe other people don't like as much as something that you don't like as much. It's a weird, vicious cycle of, you still have to create, and every once in a while you hit something really good. But this one is one for me that I liked a lot that I don't know. A lot of people, it didn't do as well, but this was just something, this one meant a lot to me. Just, I think I was mostly shocked that I got it at the time. But that's the first one. So that will be the first link.
Cool.
To that photo. And also, I think in the game, just going across the bridge is so cool just because it's such a massive bridge. It's very accurate in the game, just how massive it is. So when you're looking at this one, just picture this would basically, the photo in real life, it's where like Flatwoods is. You're looking down at Flatwoods, basically.
A little bit like that.
Yeah. So the second photo, this one is actually not in the game. And I wasn't going to do this, but it's just, I like this photo too much not to talk about it. So this is at Hawks Nest State Park, which is near Beckley in real life, West Virginia. I had never been to Hawks Nest before last year, which is another thing. I feel like I'm not a real West Virginian for having taken that long to go there, but it is one of the, and you've been there, right? To Hawks Nest. It's a very cool view. It's a very unique view, but my mom had never been to Hawks Nest before, and I took her on a trip this day. This was last fall.
That's fun.
Took her down to Hawks Nest and kind of chauffeured her around, and the cloud cover was that day was it was dark, but it was very light outside. So it was this weird kind of offset, but the leaves were orange and yellow, and it was just a very beautiful fall day. And this is another very highly Instagrammable spot for anybody that's going to plan a West Virginia road trip.
Yes.
Hawks Nest State Park.
Which you've had listeners do before
Yeah.
that have come through.
Right. I've seen a few tweets about that. So definitely if you're going to come through, it's very easily accessible off the interstate, and there's a highway that runs right down to it, and very, very cool overlook. Not as much of a backstory on that one, but it's just one of my favorite photos I've taken. So that will be the second one. The third one is something that I took this winter, and it was actually at Watauga, which a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people realize that Watauga in real life is very, very different from Watauga in the game.
Yes.
Watauga in real life is, I believe, West Virginia's biggest state park.
Yeah.
It is very, very...
It's like a landmass. Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
Very forested. There's a big lake.
Yeah.
Tons of cabins.
In the game, it was there's like a little unincorporated town in that area. Like it's very small. And in the game, it was bought out by AMR and Roboco or Robco or whatever you call it. And then they were like, okay, we're just going to dump money into this, and then made a city. There's just a bunch of corporations got together and made a city.
Yeah. So in real life, though, and I'll show you the photo. I think you've seen this one.
That's nice.
Yeah. So I was with one of my buddies, and we were pulling into Watauga State Park one night, really late in February, and we were about to head up to the cabin, and Tyler looks. He had to run up and grab the keys to the cabin out of the office, and he runs back to the car, and he goes, "Dude, get out of the car right now and look up." And I was like, "What?" And so I get out and I look up, and what you see here with these stars, that is what it looked like. A lot of times in photography, night photography, you leave the shutter open long enough that it collects enough light and you can see the stars.
You can start seeing it.
Naked eye can't see them in a lot of cases. In this case, you could see nowhere in the sky were there not stars. I mean, it was all the way across the sky, full of stars. I had never seen the sky this way.
Yeah, light pollution is very intense in any area.
Yeah, and that's why at Watauga, you're so far out there in real life, away from any sort of light pollution, that it's just, I mean, you feel like you're on a different planet. I mean, you're so far out there being able to see this. And Tyler and I, Tyler is another photographer, one of my friends, and he and I went down by the lake here, and the lake was totally frozen over. And we just stood there and just snapped shots for a good half hour, 45 minutes of the lake with the tree line and everything. And this turned out to be really the first time I'd ever shot night photography of the sky.
That's cool.
And so it was a good memory. It was a fun time. I had never been to Watauga before either. So that was my first, experience at Watauga, and it was definitely a cool one. So that will be, what is that? The third photo?
Yes, third photo.
Is the Watauga night sky.
Watauga night sky.
Watauga is beautiful. It's an
scorched
amazing.
beast in sight.
No scorched beast in sight. Very, very peaceful place.
Yes.
Just full of cabins, and there's a lake, and there's all sorts of cool stuff to do there.
It's the alternate dimension in which Watauga did not become a city.
Yes,
it was not part of the giant cranberry glade.
Yeah, it is. It's an amazing place.
Yeah.
All right, so the fourth one, you were actually there for this one.
Yeah, I was there.
You
for
were
that
standing right next to me when I took this.
Well, you had asked me where to take this photo.
Yes, and you had a much better idea than me because I did not know. You were like, yeah, you just.
I mean, I'm just gonna go. I take credit. I mean,
you helped me find this, so I appreciate that.
I'm the mastermind behind this.
You helped this photo happen, and people. There are two things in this photo that are in the game that people will recognize.
Yes.
The photo is.
Where is this? Where's this?
It
photo
is literally about a minute down the street from where we are right now. I think. It is down in Charleston, near downtown, but it's facing the Capitol building, and it is. I saw this a couple years ago. I saw someone take this photo a few years ago, and I always wondered where it was because it's such a unique setup. The angle that you're at. There's numerous churches, and then the state capitol dome way back in the background, and it's lined sort of in the most like aesthetically pleasing. It's just such
It's like all lined up together, so you can see all of the major
every
like
steeple.
fixtures and
Yeah.
steeples.
All of the steeples are at different heights, and they're just lined almost perfectly spaced across, with the Capitol filling one of the spaces, but from way, way back in the background.
Right.
And the church in the very front is, you will recognize it from Charleston, and then obviously the gold dome of the Capitol you'll recognize. But this was not long after, we had only done, I think, a few episodes of the show at this point.
This was in the summer.
It was August, I think.
Yeah.
So we were like a month in, maybe to doing the show. So this is going back to we had just recorded and then
we
went
recorded an episode, and then you were like, "Let's go drive out to this parking garage."
August 22nd. Yeah,
we went back out and shot that photo.
And there it was. So that's one of my favorites, just because it's a different side of Charleston that I don't think a lot of people realize that you can get this view in Charleston. Yeah. It looks almost. It made me think of like a European city.
Well, the dome itself, like the dome and the Capitol building, are very European in design, and you don't realize how big that dome is, like even in the game, until you're right underneath it. You're like, wait a second, this thing is huge. Yeah, this thing is big.
It is a big dome,
and it's ornate.
Yes.
AF.
Yes, it is very beautiful. We have a very beautiful Capitol building.
We do.
I've seen a lot of people from out of state that say that too. They're like, wow, the West Virginia Capitol, it's very, very beautiful, very well designed. But so that is the fourth one.
Yes.
Is the Charleston Capitol with the churches. The fifth one is another place that isn't in the game.
Okay.
It's at Babcock State Park, which this is some place that if you're going to be making a West Virginia road trip, this is on top of the list right here of places that you need to check out, in my opinion.
Okay.
Just because this place is...
This is on your short list.
Yes. This is... It's actually right near Hawks Nest. It's within 25 minutes of the New River Gorge Bridge. And it is a big state park, but my favorite part about it is they have this very, very historic grist mill along the river that runs down, and there's several falls along the grist mill that come down. And
it looks like a Thomas Kincaid. Like
it looks like a painting almost.
Yeah,
like
it makes like a painting.
It makes me think of like a Bob Ross or like some like just very scenic, beautiful, calming photo. And in the fall especially, which that was when I took this, it is one of the most beautiful places I think in the state, maybe on the East Coast. And I could sit there by the water and just watch the mill just kind of roll, for hours. It's so beautiful. It's so peaceful. But we will link that. The only reason that I chose this one is because this was, when I took this in 2016, at the time, this was my favorite photo I had ever taken in my life. I had never been to Babcock State Park, but I had always seen that mill. And I said, I want to get a photo of that. I want to go try this. And when I got there, it was surreal. Because I had seen it online for years and years and years and years. And I had seen these photos. And then I got there and I'm looking through my camera and then I'm looking up and I'm like, there it is. It's surreal that it's there. And I think everyone that I've ever taken there that had never been said the same. Like you pull up and they're just like, wow. And this is beautiful. Like this, you feel like it's just a whole different world there. So that is that one. And then the last one is an honorable mention just because it's a big place in the Fallout, in Fallout 76, is Seneca Rocks.
Holla at you.
Seneca
Build
Rocks.
your camp on one platform and take it all the way to the top, baby.
Yes. So, and I liked the fact that I had the home. There was an old homestead at the base of the rocks, and it just made me think of Fallout with someone building their camp at the base of the rocks. And they have a garden there, and it just looks like it's straight out of Fallout, and somebody built their camp there.
Yep.
And it's just Seneca Rocks is another place that I think is a must visit in West Virginia. I remember the first time I went, it was very similar to Babcock State Park, where I was coming down the mountain and the valley opens up and you see the rocks there, and it looks surreal almost. It's just such a large
I like to refer to
landmark.
it as like a Pandora moment, where you're like, you've never seen anything like it doesn't feel
so
real.
Odd.
It feels alien.
Yeah, you can't stop just staring at it.
I felt like that in West Virginia, and weirdly enough, I felt like that in California of going to some of their state parks, where I was like, this is weird.
That's how Arizona was for me, too.
Yeah,
the Grand Canyon especially. Yeah. It's like, man,
Man,
you just almost don't feel
National and state parks are cool.
I don't know, right? But it's with Seneca Rocks, it's a very cool area because in real life there is, a visitor center at the base. There are trails. There's a river right there. And then there is the homestead. And they give tours of the homestead. They've restructured this house that was originally in that location. And they show how life was in the 1800s when there were settlers there. There's a gas station, restaurant, and a campground right across the street. So you can literally just camp out right at the base of the rocks and wake up and see the rocks. Just it's wild. And the hike to the top isn't nearly as bad as what it looks. It's maybe like a 25-minute hike, and it's a switchback trail, so it's not completely, steep straight up the mountain.
Right.
So it's very, very accessible. But that picture, that was another one of my favorites just because of how simple it is. And just in my mind, I think I even captioned it. Can you imagine waking up with this view every morning? And just thinking about the settlers living there and waking up and just, there's Seneca Rocks every morning, So that's cool. But this overall, I mean, like I said, I think my photography, a lot of what I've accomplished and what I've learned is thanks to West Virginia and thanks to just how beautiful it is, and it makes it really easy to make a good composition.
What do you think is important? Like, what do you think is like lighting? Like one of the most important.
Lighting
focus?
Lighting. I mean, those are both very important. Lighting is a big thing because a lot of people, I think, believe that you want a bright, sunny day to take photos. You don't want a bright, sunny day because then everything's overexposed and it's just bright, and if it's taking pictures of people, they're squinting and you can't hardly see them. A lot of times I would go shooting with people that weren't photographers. They'd go they'd go hiking with me or something, and they would be like, man, it sucks that it's so cloudy. That's what you want. You want cloudy, neutral lighting because then you can do way more post-processing. You can bring the light up. You can take the light down. If it's super overexposed, there's not really anything you can do with it. You can't bring that down without just making it look bad. So I think lighting is big. You want golden hour. You want to
golden hour. That's what I've heard this whole time. Yeah.
You want early morning, right at sunrise, or you want within the last hour or so before sunset as it's going down, because the lighting is just so perfect at that time. You just get this the perfect amount, the perfect shade. So you want that. And then focus. I think a lot of times the biggest thing I try to tell people when they're just trying to get into photography and they, there's so much you can do with a camera. And when I started using my camera in automatic mode. I didn't understand a camera. There's a lot to them. There's a lot of different things you have to take into consideration. So get started. If you take a bad picture, it doesn't matter. That's the beauty of a digital age. When it was film, you had to wait 2 weeks to figure out what your photos looked like. Right. Take it now. Oh, that sucks. Delete. Take it again. You can adjust. So most of what I accomplished was through trial and error. I have taken a lot of bad pictures in my life. Right. I still do. Everybody does. That's the thing. You could be the worst photographer ever, and then 5 seconds later, the best photographer
Everything
ever.
Aligns and you.
Yeah. Some of these photos that I took, each of these, I'm sure if I went back through my records, through my database of everything, there's 15 of the same shot, but terrible, of me trying to adjust and get it just right. So that's the thing. I think people think that every professional photographer goes out and can just snap done. I guarantee you 99% of them are taking terrible photos every day. They just know how to adjust from the terrible photos now. They know how to make their way to a good photo. So that's one thing really. But I enjoy seeing people go in West Virginia and take photos and just, it's fun, man. And that's what the people, any listeners that are going to make a road trip this spring or summer in the state, bring even if it's just your iPhone. Yeah. Or your Android, whatever your phone is, dude. You can make, I see Instagram accounts with hundreds of thousands of followers and it's iPhone only. They'll have it in their description or something. Yep. You can take amazing photos with a phone, and there are so many different apps now So you don't even really need let's say, because cameras are not cheap. Obviously, I've had to save up, and they're an expensive investment, especially
nice
if it's
camera.
not something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Use your phone. You can take some amazing photos with it, and you can make a hobby out of that. And then maybe one day you will want to buy a camera.
Right.
But when you do a road trip, just look for things that catch your eye, frame it. You don't have to frame it the same way everybody else is framing a shot. If it's like an icon, let's say you go somewhere and you've seen the same shot of this overlook.
Right.
Shoot it how you want it. Look for other things. Look for things there that maybe other people haven't shot that you don't see a lot of. A lot of times that's when you take your best photos, is when you're having to analyze and figure out, how can I make this different? I'm like going on a spiel about photography right now.
Well, no. See, the biggest trick that we're pulling right now, well, at least that I'm pulling, that I'm making you pull, is even though we're talking about photography in real life, it's also almost identical to photography in Fallout 76, that photo mode.
It's perfect practice. With that camera, I've taken some photos on Fallout just messing around, and I've been like, wow, that's a cool photo. Like,
well, you've got all kinds of different sliders and all kinds of different,
I got one of, like, there was the moon was going up, and I had this big, huge tree with these branches stretched over, and I angled it just so the moon was kind of up under the arch of and I took it, and I had a little bit of grass in the foreground from the angle, and I was like, man, that would be a dope shot in real life. I mean, there's a lot of cases where I've taken photos in the game with what the camera mode they've already had, so I'm really excited to see this whole point and shoot type thing.
What that brings to it? What if there's any kind of new features or what?
Yeah, so
what happens with that?
I just went on that rant. It made me think of that. Sir, this is a Wendy's, like that response. Like I give this whole.
No, I think it's 100% relevant. I think that what's getting featured and what people are drawing to as far as like what content can you be creating in the Fallout world are screenshots and are in this photo mode. I mean, that's what Bethesda retweets. Like that's what gets featured. That's what people see. That's what people like.
Yeah. I think what would be fun is eventually if we could get, I mean, it would maybe be limited at first to listeners that are already in state, but anybody that's going to be on a road trip or happens to pass through, I want to see comparisons.
That's what I've wanted to do for a while.
Right.
And just
I think you would. I think we had spoken about that.
And just go and do it, because like there's obviously low hanging fruit here. I mean, we could go recreate shots we took in the beta, and throw on a vault suit, go out there.
I mean, literally right down the street. So
literally, yeah.
But yeah,
I do one. I did one for the camp that I built for my house. Like that's out there. I did one for the Cranberry Glades. I've posted before.
Yeah, it's fun. I think that's probably. I mean, but yeah, I mean, Instagram is such a big thing now. It's such a huge social media tool, and that's why it's cool that now in the game you'll be able to do this stuff and you take these photos, and it's just very similar to real life, because West Virginia, that's a big thing. I mean, people post photos of West Virginia all the time. I mean, because I try to keep up with that, obviously, and it's cool to see the state being showcased in such a positive way.
Right.
But yeah, so that's my rant. If obviously we will link my Instagram, but it is at A Taylor O'Connor, ATAYLOROCONNOR. So we will link that with those photos. You can take a look at those. Give me a follow if you happen to have photography questions or random questions about something, camera, anything. I don't care. Reach out to me. Reach out to Dave. We don't care. We are happy to answer questions.
Yeah. I just realized we have the same middle name.
I know. We do, don't we?
I'm going to call this the Taylor Cast.
Taylor Cast.
Two Taylors talking Fallout. I wish that's
what was it? Tim the Toolman Taylor? Was
Tim Toolman Taylor.
Home Improvement. Yeah.
So, Austin, I appreciate you bringing all those photos.
Well, thanks for letting me rant.
Oh, no problem. You can find all those photos in the description down below.
They're way more beautiful than the way I described them. I'm bad
I would have been happy with you coming and be like, this is a stump.
So this is a waterfall. There's water that's kind of going over, and there's like a river at the bottom.
This is a star. It's in the sky.
There's a house right here.
Yep.
And there's this big rock behind it.
Yep.
I could have done that.
There's a rock. So also this week we've got a piece of mail in the mailbox, not the digital mailbox,
Yes.
which you can always email us at vaultboyswv@gmail.com.
Yes.
So this one I will now read.
Okay.
Hey, you guys! I added you both a while ago, and I never got around. Excuse me. I am. Let me tell you something. All of my allergies, everything.
Yes.
I can't like my eyes go in and out of focus.
You want me to read it?
No, I'm gonna read it.
Okay.
By the way, the subject was fan mail, which is a call out to last week where I talked about fan mail. The people sending in fan mail, like blah blah blah. So it's like tip of the nose, wag of the finger there. Little inside joke. Hey, you guys.
Hey, you guys.
Yeah, that's how I picture it too.
Yeah.
I added you both a while ago, and I never got to actually join because of my work schedule. Second shift, full time, which sucks because I don't have too many people to play the game with. My significant other is pretty much boycotting Bethesda because of his feelings on Fallout 76. I think scheduling a meet and greet in game for listeners would be really cool, preferably on a weekend, but honestly, whenever worked best for you guys. Also, I have heard Dave mention Splatoon a few times and would love to know what weapon he likes to use for only turfing mentality. I pretty much agree with the sentiment as I play roller, and I tend to be at the top of the board with little amount of kills. I'd also love to play Splatoon with him and fellow listeners at some point. Anyways, thanks for reading, and I hope both of you keep going with this podcast. Your fan, Soybean.
Thanks.
Thank you, Soybean.
It's very nice. That was very nice.
That's very nice. Thank you.
Thank you so
I appreciate
much.
that. Now, a few things. First of all, I do Splat-o-matic. That's the weapon I use.
This is a game I need to get
You
into.
need to get into.
Yeah.
I use that. It's like the big thing with the big nozzle in the front that it looks like somebody put a big funnel on a gun.
Yeah.
And it just covers everything. And,
Right.
I shoot it around. I pop up and I shoot it around real quick and I go back down and I go as far as I can forward and shoot it around again. And I just like travel. And I'm
Right.
just painting. It's like speed run Bob Ross. That's what I like to call it. So that's what I use. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I've thought about this. Of community meetups. My schedule is so weird. Your schedule is so weird.
Yes.
I'm like, we couldn't keep a time. Like, there couldn't be a time. But then, been messing around with this thing called Discord for a while. So I would like to announce. I have an announcement. This is, we're having a lot of like announcements, daily segments. Oh, you got the drum out. We have a Discord now. We've had a Discord. I made a Discord literally months ago. I've been recording podcasts on the Discord sometimes when we've had people from out of town. But now I'm going to open it up. It's going to be in the description down below. I'm still setting it up, so I'm adding in, I've got channels for PS4, Xbox, and PC. I've got a voice channel for PC. There's a podcast channel on there that I'm just going to use for people that are on the podcast. So don't join that unless you're on the podcast, in which case that would be very interesting. But there's chat that you can share your PSNs, your Xbox Live, your PCs, because if I just did a meetup, I would be on PS4, and then I'd leave out my good friends that play on Xbox or PC or what have you. So just keep a small Discord, like a community chat room, a little bit of something. I'll be in there. I'll be checking it. I'm going to get you added on.
Yeah, I was going to say, hopefully I'm invited.
You are invited. I'll invite you to the Discord.
Thanks.
But that's also, guess what? Going to be in the link. Down
Got
below.
a bunch of links coming out today.
This is like 4 different links.
Yeah.
That we've got. So what I'm saying is community meetups would be a great idea, and I think maybe doing it through that app might be a way to do it to maybe suit everyone.
Yes.
Rather than just working off of my schedule, which is so strange and weird and. Come home and I log on for 20 minutes and I go, I got to go pick up poop in the yard or
We
something.
both have some interesting schedules, I think.
Yes. So we're just going to do it through that. And
Sounds like a plan.
It's kind of, if you want to get up and have like a weekly meetup or you want to talk to people, I've got a general chat on there. I've got a section just to talk about West Virginia lore. If you want to talk about like the happenings in West Virginia, one thing I just ask is for you to be kind to other people.
Yes.
And other people's schedules, because we have a lot of people that have, we have full-time jobs, and other people have full-time jobs and kids and families and stuff. So just be courteous, be kind. I'm probably gonna add an auto moderator in there. So no, like I don't want any like cussing up a storm or
Don't be an a-hole.
I want some kindness and positivity. That's what I'm all about.
Right.
Hashtag good vibes. You know.
Hashtag GVO, good flipping vibes only.
Yes.
All right,
So.
I really have to stop even ironically saying that because it's going
I
to
don't
start
think it's
becoming
ironic anymore.
It's going to start
just
becoming
you.
just it's going to implement itself into my vocabulary.
So I will also, if you want to play Splatoon with me, I don't have my friend code on me because that's like 12 different numbers and letters.
Yeah.
So I'll put that in the Discord. You guys can come play Splatoon with me weekdays at like anytime from 5 to 6:30 when I'm on the bike for 30 minutes. That's generally
5 to 6:30, 30 minutes, huh?
A 30-minute interval anytime from 5 to 6:30.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So that's
a good save.
That's generally no. I will not be on the bike for an hour and a half playing Splatoon. My knees would give out.
Yeah, true. Mine too.
So that's when I play. Either play that or Dark Souls or Skyrim. Generally.
Huh.
So Austin,
I think that's it, dog.
I think we done did the thing
I think
again.
we done did it, man.
Well, let's see. Next week we've got an interesting episode coming out because they've got that dungeon coming out. Maybe we're going to do a subject around that. Who knows?
We got a big week next week.
We
got Paul Rudd on the show.
Paul Rudd on the show.
Yeah,
We've got Vince McMahon coming on the show. We've got Mickey Mouse, the legend, The Rock. Mickey Mouse, played by The Rock.
I don't even know where we have gone so far off the rails. I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, with that,
I think I talked too much.
I think I racked your brain so hard for
I'm
all
just
that.
like,
all of that photographic knowledge, you're just like, I've drained you entirely.
We just had the weirdest ending to our show, I think, in our like 30-some episode history. Like we just kind of like went around in a circle, and then we were like, oh, well,
brain malfunction.
I guess we're done. So that was.
Well, join the Discord. Maybe I know. Next week I'm gonna be playing a good deal of Fallout 76. I'm gonna be almost every night, except for my mother's birthday.
Yeah.
I'm going to be going.
I restarted Entourage, so I'm probably just going to be doing that.
Well, you know what? You can just sit over there in your Entourage. Me and the listeners are going to be having some fun going around, hunting sheep squatch, talking to my dog at Hound Town, and, taking over the world.
All right, man. Well, have fun, guys, with your little Hound Town.
Hound Town. That's it for today, though. Don't forget to email us your questions at vaultboyswv@gmail.com. Check us out on social media at vaultboyspod and tell your friends. The best way to support this show is a rate and review on iTunes, which we are always grateful for. We got 2 new reviews in the past month, so keep it coming.
Please.
5 stars. Please. Because I want to knock that review on there that's like talking about us acting like we're at the Denny's. Even though we do talk like we're at the Denny's.
Please give us a review.
Give us a rate and review. But just remember, though, from holler to highway, we've got you covered. 6 with Sunday.
Oh, man.
I'm going to let it all drain into my mouth.
God.
It's going to drain back there. And then I'm going to talk until we do the next segment. Then I'm going to drain it some more.